All right, so I'm
You
all
ready, bud?
ready. Yes, Antipop
Nice.
on Scarlet, Logic on Hattori. It'll be interesting to see how Antipop's been playing and practicing a lot of Scarlet recently. Classically, Bodvar main. Sometimes plays Asuri, or Asuri main plays Bodvar. Either one.
Yeah.
Be cool to see
So
what he can do in this
interesting.
legend.
So Logic is like the Gimp master, from what I can tell. Like he's really good at getting sword Gimps, and that's like 90% of his game plan. Antipop is a much more well-rounded player, and we'll see. I actually haven't seen Logic play in a long time, so
So Logic,
Antipop's gonna go for. Sorry,
No.
gonna go for those throw combos a lot, playing Scarlet.
yeah, tries to go in for the down light, but Logic's actually able to punish the neutral light. Antipop hits him with the side light, tosses the bomb high, and Logic nearly dodges into it, not expecting that bomb angle. Goes in with the swords, gets to the side air. Logic finds himself a little bit more damage than Antipop, but he's finally getting some damage, and now he's got the sword. Goes for that nair. As Antipop unarmed, but Antipop tosses the bomb aside, goes in for the D-Light, and gets hit by that D-Light recovery from Antipop. Antipop holding on to the lance, goes in for his side air. Logic holding on to the spear. He wants to toss that aside, considering we were just talking about that matchup differential between lance and sword, or spear, and Logic picks up the sword himself, but he's heavily damaged.
Gosh, Sword also has a bit of a tough time against Lance too, though. Lance is like really good versus Hattori in general, but you can definitely just get in there. Like Lance struggles when you're just inside of them because they're basically forced to throw their weapon if at that point. And we see Antipop stuck unarmed because of it.
Ooh, Logic finds that
Nice
D-Light
one,
side air, and he actually evens this up pretty quickly. Logic is hit by that sideline flying, but luckily on the right side of the Shipwreck Falls platform, and he actually manages to make it back. Logic holding onto the spear goes for a neutral light. Antipop tries to go for a downer himself into a dive kick. Both players are heavily damaged. The bomb is tossed into the air. Logic, either player will kill with a side air. Goes for the neutral sig unsafely and goes for a haymaker. Instead, the recovery kills Logic off the top, and Antipop took so much more damage than he needed to on that stock.
Well, it's not easy to kill someone as fast as Hattori. That was a really, really cool little combo there.
Definitely. And then it gets the scoop as well. And I guess you're right. With Tori's insane movement speed, it's kind of hard to be able to land moves, especially with like the lance and the hammer, considering what legend you're using. And Logic, excellent patience on that edge guard there. Hits that side air and kills Antipop up the side of the map.
Logic preferring that sword. Finds the downlight combo and is just trying to not let Antipop get the weapon, but he does find it. Logic does have a small advantage here, damage-wise, but it's not going to take much to pull it back. Really weird neutral sig there, or neutral light.
Antipop, well, Logic's doing a great job of being able to maneuver around Antipop's aerials, but he's not finding too many punishes himself. Finds the sidelight. Antipop sticking with this lance and not choosing to go unarmed. He gets that downlight side air and actually does a decent amount of damage to Logic's Hattori. Hattori goes for a neutral signature to try to punish Antipop from recovery. A second neutral sig. Neither of them's connecting, but a side air will hit. Logic tosses one weapon aside, picks up the sword, trying to go for a spear, I suppose, and gets punished by a scoop from Antipop. Antipop holding onto the hammer, tries to chase Logic across the ground, goes for that side air. Both players not really finding any moves, but Antipop slowly winning out on these trades. Down air misses, and a D-Light Cider comes in the punish, but Antipop gets his own D-Light Cider, and that one will
Hammer
kill.
downlight Sarah will kill a lot earlier. So Logic getting the spear now. Very close game so far. Antipop is in deep orange here. Antipop goes for that unarmed combo again, but Logic is wise to it and dodges out of it.
Who goes for that scoop into the neutral sig follow-up, but or neutral air follow-up, but Antipop gets punished by Logic's dodge into a downer, and the D-Light Cider will end it. I think.
Ooh, he thought that killed.
Oh no, Antipop actually has all the jumps necessary to get back. Logic was just clearing the map, and luckily gets a cider to end it, but if he got punished off of that, that would have been devastating. Logic, however, nearing the orange. Antipop goes in for the spike ball, doesn't get the hit, lands with a neutral air, doesn't hit either, and Logic doing a good job of not taking any damage here. Two D-Lights into a recovery, into a nair. That's a crazy amount of damage to be able to put on the beginning of that stock. An excellent string and a very creative one from Logic. Logic tries to land but gets punished by a nair. Hits that cider onto Antipop. Antipop dodges out of the way of that D-Light, hits him with that neutral light, but doesn't get any follow-up himself.
Wow. Logic has really been practicing these downlight combos. Hitting that twice in a row. Those are not easy to hit either.
And that side air comes in. Logic hits another side air. Antipop goes low to recover, and Logic finds himself below the stage into the ground pound. Doesn't quite hit,
back,
but the
though.
recovery. Logic does a great job being able to save himself after nearly killing himself with a lack of jumps, and that, wow, that
Doesn't kill.
actually connects, and that downlight side air, that'll do it.
Wow, very, very insanely close game, but Logic does come out on top at the very end there. Wow, that was really anyone's game, but I love it when Antipop plays Asuri. I love his guitars so much.
Yeah, Antipop brings out the Scarlet, makes it very close, but in the end he wants to switch over to his legend that he's most comfortable with. The guitar play, particularly being what he's known for. If he lands that down air, you know that it's going to result into a crazy string. And FRX Logic sticking to his Hattori after a very close match. He ends up taking game 1.
So Antipop is probably the favorite here. Antipop is a very, very high tier player, but a lot of people, or I guess no one really has seen Logic much, if at all. He hasn't really participated in a lot of tournaments, but he's actually really good. Like, he trains with, and he plays 2v2s constantly with Twilight. He also trains in 1v1s with Twilight. And he's just a really good player that doesn't get a lot of exposure. So it's really cool to see him playing against someone like Antipop and actually managing to find the win. But we're right into the game here, back on Shipwreck.
Ooh, Antipop immediately opens with that down air, and there's the string that I'm talking about. Ooh, gets that chase dodge to the neutral light. Gets the recovery as well, that neutral air. Logic has already found himself into the orange in the first 10 seconds of this match, but he's starting to return some damage himself. Dodging out of the way of a down air. That ground pound's coming in. Logic gets back onto the stage, tries to fight him off the stage. He's actually winning. Gets the down air. That's Antipop's stock. No, the recovery. Antipop, such excellent patience and Logic is probably nearly lost his stock. That was an explosive first 30 seconds. Logic actually gets back to the stage, goes for a charge disco, and gets hit by a side air. Logic's probably going to lose his stock after this one. Antipop waits patiently for him to recover, gets the weapon toss into the sidelight. Antipop does it, but wow. Talk about it.
So those are the guitars that he's known for. He just goes off. If you sleep for like half a second, Antipop will take half your health. That's just what he does.
Ooh, but Logic has the spear and actually hits him with a bunch of side airs. Antipop finds himself off the stage. Logic holding onto the sword. Another side air coming out from him. Goes for a GC neutral sig. Finds himself dangerously below the stage. Needs to get back onto it. Gets that dodge. Antipop holding on the guitars. Not finding a string just yet. Goes in for that down air and gets punched by GC down sig. It's flying into the red. Logic making it even almost quite quickly. Goes for a neutral signature. Antipop doesn't find that down air and gets punched by a down light side air. Antipop trying to recover. Logic, no! Finds himself off the stage. Recovers. Antipop's ready to do more damage than the Logic's Hattori.
So one thing that we did see in that first stock is that Logic was very comfortable just trying to turn that around. He is very comfortable when he's not on the stage. He loves sword off stage. He'll always go for edge guards if he can, and he'll always turn the edge guard back on you. But it doesn't matter. We can see Antipop's just like staying in the middle of the stage and racking up a ton of damage.
Yeah, Logic wasn't able to end that stock. And Antipop gets in with that D-light into recovery. Antipop holding on the guitars, just inching across the stage, has Logic in the deep red, goes for a nair, and Logic still has yet to end the stock despite a very good beginning, but that neutral sig charges it, it just hits him. Antipop doesn't respect it, maybe misses his dodge key, either way, evens it up 2-2, but Antipop goes in for that side light, punished by a side air. He's trying to end the stock quickly, and he's actually getting punished for it.
Yeah, he was a little too greedy trying to pick that weapon up. Logic was just guarding it. But Antipop has stage control now. Not letting Logic get back on. Gravity cancel neutral light there.
And he goes for that ground pound, but Logic's actually ready to punish it. I'm surprised Antipop didn't go for a weapon toss, and he nearly dies. Logic gets up with the side light into the ground pound of the downer. That's
Logic
it.
does, man.
He
does that. Like, you can't be off stage against someone like Logic and not expect that.
I really feel like Antipop was playing a little lazy there too. Lands with the neutral light, and he's punished for it. He's lost his stock, goes for a nair, and the nair kills. And he gives him a thumbs up and evens it up 1-1. But honestly, that should not have happened. Logic made this match much closer than it needed to be, and Antipop's trying his hardest to get back into it. Ooh, Logic gets that D-light into recovery, however. I signature combo for him, essentially. I don't see that from many other players, and Antipop trying to find those downers, finally gets that string in, gets him into the red, or the orange, but Logic's ready to return with some strings of his own.
That's also Exo's go-to combo, actually. I think that's where he got it from, too. Downlight, recovery. What is Antipop doing?
I don't know. He's just dropping around on the stage. Logic finds himself in the red. Gets that down sig. That's not something you want to be getting hit by. Puts him into the orange. Antipop tries to go for a downlight recovery. Logic's doing a great job of dodging to get out of these strings now. Holds on the sword, gets the sidelight, dodges back to be able to read Antipop's down air, and goes in for a side air. Antipop's just using every jump possible, just staying around in the air right now. And that side air will do it. Logic's out of jumps.
You know what? Antipop hasn't used a single signature this game. Huh.
I did not realize that. You're right. I didn't hear a single cat noise from Asuri. Game 2 ends up going to
Antipop does find it, though. So we're evened up 1-1, going to a game 3. I mean, those guitar strings just really decided the outcome of the game. Like, other than the guitar strings, I think Logic had a slight advantage, but when you get, like, 150 damage off of guitar strings in one game, it's hard to not lose it. Logic did have a decent chance there with the stock lead, but we're heading straight into game 3 on Twilight Grove. Logic finds the spear and Antipop gets his guitars.
Yeah, Logic tosses the spear down, tries to go for an unarmed combo, but Antipop doesn't want anything to do with it. He's not finding his guitar string quite as early as he did before, but there's the down air. Doesn't get anything as well. Logic doing a good job being able to get out of those now. Antipop's going to need to read those dodges in place to be able to get as much damage as he usually does on those strings. Otherwise, Logic's kind of constantly get out of them and put some damage on himself. Side air into neutral light. Logic is hit by that down air, however, and Antipop carries him off the stage. That might be Logic's stock. Ground pound comes down, but Logic's ready to punish, and that ground pound and the down air off the stage.
What did I say? You can't do that. You can't do that against Logic.
I think Antipop's not respecting Logic's offstage ability. He's not afraid to chase you off the map to the point where you can't even see your character and kill you. That was an excellent job from Logic.
Absolutely insane, though. Like, no other player is going to go for that. Like, literally, like, on the blast zone. Like, if you miss your ground pound in that situation, you're dead. Like, Logic has the biggest balls in the world.
Goes for that side air into neutral. Antipop tries to punch with the side air of his own, but Logic's willing to take this lead and run with it. Antipop holds onto the guitars on Twilight Grove right now, goes in for that down air. Logic tries to hit him with the sword, gets him with that side air, goes for a neutral light, but Antipop dodges out of the way, but can't get a string follow-up. Another side air comes in, and Logic's putting Antipop closer and closer to the orange and closer to another 2-stock lead. Antipop punished by a D-Light side air into another side air, hit into the island. Antipop's just getting hit by sword move after sword move. The bomb comes down, nearly hits him in the face, goes for a downer off the stage and recovers. Antipop charges his signature, doesn't quite connect, and Logic makes it back to the center stage.
So Logic is doing really good versus Antipop right now. It seems like he figured out how to deal with these insane guitar strings, and he's just playing around it now.
Yeah, and then when it comes to trading evenly, Logic wins, but Antipop actually gets that ground pound as Logic tries to take another quick stock and evens up 2-2, and this is where Antipop can bring it back. If he's able to adjust the Logic's dodges in place and get a guitar string, he can bring Logic into the orange or possibly into kill percent.
Yeah. So Logic drops the downlight combo, holds a down sig, but that doesn't work, but Antipop just runs into the downlight, and Logic has a full stock lead.
Alright, Antipop dances around, waits for a weapon, tosses the spike ball side, lands with the neutral light, gets the weapon. He does, it's the sword, doesn't get any damage with it, however, but neither does Logic. Logic, both players holding onto their swords and playing in the neutral. Antipop goes in for a downer into a neutral light. Logic dodges out of the way of that D-Light, but Antipop's actually getting a decent amount of strings in. Yes, D-Light side air, Logic's brought into the orange. Ooh, waits for that jump in, goes to the neutral light, punches with the downer. Antipop playing incredibly patiently now. Logic makes it back to the stage. Ooh. Punches that downer with the D-Light, but dodges out of the way. Antipop finds a D-Light side air of his own. Both players just exchanging with the safest sword moves in the game. Logic finds the spear, however. Antipop side air, that might be Logic's stock. He's running low on jumps. No, misses the downer. He makes it back.
Yeah, Logic is losing this sword v sword matchup pretty handily, and he actually gets hit by that last frame of the side air, loses his stock. Antipop did not take much damage. Despite the full stock lead that Logic had earlier, it's just all gone, especially if he gets hit by some of those guitar strings.
Yeah, Antipop's playing very patiently, very slowly, but Logic, gets that side air, and Antipop finds himself off stage. No, Antipop, don't do it! Don't do it, Antipop! He wants you to go down there!
Oh, man.
Logic just ends his stock.